Okay, so let's continue. The next obstacle the author talks about is feeling of insecurity. The reason why we feel insecure is that we have tremendous concern about outcomes of certain events. So that is why we feel insecure, right? There is a lot of preoccupation with results because we are so much thinking about the results. It creates fear and anxiety about how things would turn out. So this is something that we also discussed in another book, where if we are so focused on results, uh, we stop enjoying the process, and the outcome is also getting affected because of this outcome focused anxiety. And security is a spiritual trait. So it is something that comes from within. But many times we seek security through money, security through relationships. But actually, those don't provide the real security. It has to come from within. So these are some of the obstacles that come in our way as we try to understand and return to our true nature. So one point that he talks about is that whenever a negative emotion, when we feel, if it is understood, if we understand the root of it, if the roots are eliminated, then the energy behind that emotion, it diminishes, and sometimes it even disappears. So this is a very powerful statement. So whenever we feel negative, we understand the root of it. Okay. So these are some of the core principles talked about in this book. I have picked up a few key points which I think is very, very much it impacted me. So I thought I would share with you as well. He says, you are not a human being having a spiritual experience. You are a spiritual being having a human experience. It's such a, light bulb moment for me when I first read this. So if we think that we are all spiritual beings, we are all connected, we all come from the same source. So same concept that is being talked about in the Upanishads, where there is this Paramatman, and we are coming from that Paramatman. We are all the... Can you please go on mute? So we all come from that Paramatman. We are all the Jivatmans, and we eventually connect to the Paramatman, right? So that is the same principle being reinforced over here. So we all have that spiritual nature within us, but we have come into this physical form to experience certain qualities, to learn certain lessons. So this is something that is available to all of us, right? And one common pattern that I am seeing these days is that so if you look at say 10 or maybe 15 years back, slowly people started becoming more and more aware of their physical health, right? Maybe 2013, 2014, you would have seen many people talking about nutrition. Again, that trend is still continuing, but it started around that time, right? People started focusing more on their physical health. But now, the COVID and post-COVID, you see more and more people talking about mental health. And when people start talking about mental health, and there are so many mental health issues that are being talked about, though the awareness was there in the West, but in India, it is slowly picking up because of various factors. What happens is that when mental health issues come up, people start to seek help from certain people around them, right? So because therapies, going for treatments are expensive, they are still considered taboo. So people try to resolve by themselves, or they try to resolve with someone they might trust. But this is also becoming a scope, business oriented scope. And that is why I had shared a few of the screenshots from this book, where he talks about, he has dedicated about 2 or 3 chapters where he talks about the role of spiritual teachers, psychics, and mediums, where people might say, oh, I hear from, your grandfather, this is the message that he has for you, right? This is not something that is, if people are charging a lot of money and trying to convey this information to you, then this is something that we should be careful about. Because people slowly you would see that they are making us dependent on their advice. So whenever we get into a problem, we think, okay, we should reach out to this person to get their advice. And they project themselves as something very special because of their qualities. But the quality of understanding ourselves, the quality of resolving our issues, the quality of connecting to the masters, right? Masters in the sense, think of it as your intuitive abilities. This is available to all of us. This is not something, specially dedicated only to a few people. It is available to all of us. We can tap into that wisdom. So it's all about having trust in ourselves and having trust in the universe to get to that experience, right? So that is what the author reiterates in those chapters. And yeah, there's like nobody is going to rescue us. It is up to us, right? So you would see, as this is something that I'm just guessing, or I feel this is something that is going to get even more worse in the years to come, where there will be more and more spiritual gurus that would come up in the subsequent years, because people, seeing all the negative issues and situations happening around, they will seek how to process all those coming in. And that is where these spiritual gurus will see a good business coming in. So, and people would think that this person would rescue me, that person would rescue me. No, that is not going to happen. It is us who have to understand and rescue ourselves. Rescue in the sense, it's not like we are in trouble. We need to understand what is happening, why things are happening this way, right? And one point that just struck my mind was that never accept any idea before bouncing it off your intuitive wisdom. So now through this session, I'm sharing the insights from this book about soul journey, how we carry forward our karmas, the lessons that we are learning. Does it appeal to you intuitively, or do you feel a strong sense of resistance? See, resistance can come from intellect, resistance can come from intuition. So that differentiation we need to understand. If you feel that, and if this is coming consistently over a period of time from your intuition, then it means that maybe this idea is not suited for you. So never accept any idea, because this blind faith and blind adulation is something that I am totally against. People have to start questioning. We all have that wisdom, we all have that discerning ability, but we are not using it fully. This quote by Wayne Dyer, right? Many intellectual, analytical people will say that I will believe only when I see it. But what Wayne Dyer says is that you will see it when you believe it. Such a interesting twist of the words, right? And this is very true. Like, I have experienced this myself, where once you start opening up to these ideas, there will be situations coming in which you'll be able to connect the dots. Why certain things happen this way? Why did this event happen first, and why did this event happen next? Right? You will be able to join the dots. You will be able to understand the connections very beautifully. So fundamental takeaway is that all wisdom is within us. We need to be able to tap into our intuitive wisdom, and we need to have that patience and timing. Everything takes its time, right? Everything comes when it must come. So some people might get this wisdom in their early 30s. Some people might get this wisdom in their early 40s or early 50s, right? Have that patience. There is a timing for you. For each individual, there is a timing when this will be revealed to you. So just because someone got this wisdom in their early life, it doesn't mean that they are progressing faster, right? It's not a competition. Spirituality is not a competition. So wait, be patient, wait for that right timing for you, right? When things will fall in place. So these are some of the key points that for me personally I found valuable, but there are plenty of takeaways which might be relevant for others as well. So some of the practices. So he talks about tapping into the power of intuitive wisdom, getting those messages from the masters, um, joining the dots, understanding our soul purpose, what are the lessons we have come to learn, right? So all these come understanding comes through certain practices. And some of the practices he has mentioned are a state of hypnosis. Hypnosis in the sense where you go into this deep relaxation, but your consciousness is active. So a practice like yoga nidra, right? A yoga nidra is where you're totally relaxed. Your body and mind is completely relaxed, but your consciousness is fully active, right? You're not going into sleep, but your consciousness is fully awake. So in those deeper states, you will receive those insights. You will go into that state of brain waves where your consciousness, you'll be able to tap into your subconscious mind and you'll be able to get those insights. So then he talks about regression, where we regress to our childhood. This is something that is, again, you would have seen many topics on, say, inner child healing, right? Where we go into our past, where we introspect on our early childhood. What are those experiences that we had, right? And through those, we understand, okay, this incident happened when I was, say, 2 years or 3 years, and that I am carrying forward. The impact of it I'm carrying forward when I'm in my 30s. So these are the learnings that we get when we regress to the past. So it is a doorway to expanded awareness, right? Our awareness expands to not just what we remember, what our conscious mind is able to gather now, but we are able to tap into our subconscious. We're able to tap into our past lives and the patterns that we have gone through. The other simple practices that we can follow is to practice compassion, where if we think that everybody, a person who is doing certain things, there is a reason why he is going through certain things, right? So if we start having that compassion, then we'll be able to understand why this is happening. So doing simple acts of kindness, that will open up our compassion, that will energize the compassion area in our brain. And he gives a very good example of this, a school where, let's say there is a classroom and a teacher asks a question to somebody. That person is not able to answer that question, okay? And if the person is not able to answer that question, nobody raises their hand to say, me, I'm going to answer that question, right? He says the school believes that that is considered very rude, because if one person is not able to answer, and if somebody else answers, it puts down that person. It ignores the feelings of that person, right? So, but in all the schools, we have all done this unconsciously, right? When we were kids, our teachers encouraged us. So at a subtle level, this is how we are taught to rise, by stamping over others, right? We are taught to be competitive and ruthless and ignore the feelings of others. So this is a very good example of how, unconsciously we are not practicing kindness or compassion because of this competitive nature. And many times we think, oh, I don't have any money, or I don't have any resources to share with others. I don't have anything to help others, right? If we do not have the opportunity to do great things, we can do small things in a great way. Such a powerful statement, isn't it? Like small things that we could do, which is within our capacity, right? That in itself will multiply. So there's from a kindness perspective, there is no like small act of kindness or big act of kindness. It is about how we fully present ourselves in that act. Listening to inner voice, it is again, it takes time, it takes patience. It is not like we sit for 1 minute and some messages are going to come. No. It is about consistent practice of meditation, consistent practice of solitude, connecting with nature. Many times I have found that whenever I'm going for a long walk, like 40 minutes, 1 hour, where I'm not distracted, I don't carry my phone or listen to some music or audiobooks. I am just walking, right? Then suddenly a flash comes that, okay, this was something that was running in my mind. And suddenly I feel that this is how I should look at this particular problem, or this is how I should look at this particular situation. So give more time for yourself to go into that quiet zone, create that space to listen. So then you will start to listen to your inner voice. Then the practice of meditation, right? So here, when you talk about meditation, it is difficult for me. I find sitting for like maybe about 20-25 minutes I can meditate, but beyond that I find it very difficult. But slowly it comes, like you start off with 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and then you slowly increase. And what happens is that once the mind becomes more and more quieter, this is again, it is more to do with consistency. Once you start becoming consistent with meditation, you will start to become more observant about your own thoughts and feelings. And slowly this will help you to remember your true nature. So these are some of the practices given. He has also talked about some group exercises they have tried, like energy awareness, where two people are sitting opposite to each other, and they feel the energy or the vibration that each person, exudes, right? So some of the practices they have tried in their group workshops, he has elaborated those, which are quite interesting as well. So that's about it on this book. So is this book for everybody? No, because the belief or this material will come to you. So that is what I believe. So if this material has to reach to you, it will reach to you at the right moment. So I feel that if this summary, sort of struck a chord somewhere, then I'm sure you would enjoy this book. Okay, any questions? Any comments, thoughts?
Thanks so much, Anu. I'm joining this after a long time. Yeah, but I've been wanting to kind of read this book. I've heard a lot about the author, but somehow I've never managed to get my hands on this book. So I think I'm thanks to your session today, I'll definitely going to order this book, and I'll let you know how I like it.
Great, Sahana. Glad it was helpful. Okay, so we are right on time.